Imagine a huge open farm where everything feels peaceful and natural. The air smells fresh with the earthy scent of damp grass. The animals get to roam freely across wide open fields, grazing on green grass. The farm isn't just about the animals, it's about the way everything works together. The farmers here don't rush or force anything. They take their time, working alongside nature to produce the food that ends up on our plates. However, this isn't the case for most farms.
Richard Hemser lives a quarter mile from a CAFO in Danville. He says his home value slashed in half because of the smell.
Well, it's not just a larger than normal dairy farm that's being proposed. It's something called a CAFO.
A state law protecting large corporate farms from county health ordinances has been put on pause.
A giant algae bloom took over Lake Erie.
500,000 people with no safe drinking water.
Poop in drinking water.
Controversy centers around concentrated animal feeding operations. Concentrated animal feed operations, or CAFO.
These farms consist of rows upon rows of crowded, dark, metal buildings packed with animals. These are concentrated animal feeding operations, also known as CAFOS. The air here is thick with the stench from all the waste. The cows, pigs, chickens are crammed together in tight places with barely enough room to move. They spend their entire lives here in these cruel conditions. This is the reality of CAFOS, animal factories, where the goal isn't care or compassion, but mass production. They're designed to produce meat, milk, and eggs quickly and inexpensively. The world might not always see what goes on behind those barns, but it's a system that leaves a lasting impact, both on the animals inside and the environment outside. These farms focus on the quantity, not the quality of food they're producing. These farms aren't putting in the care that these animals need to thrive. The lifespan of CAFOS animals are only a few months. Due to this negligence, tens of millions of animals die before reaching those slaughterhouses. It was found that annually 20 million chickens, 330,000 pigs, and 166,000 cattle were reported as dead on arrival.
What a lot of people don't realize is the environmental damage that's done by CAFO farms. For example, a case found in North Carolina reported several CAFO farms with poor waste management, resulting in many environmental problems.
The billion-dollar industry is primarily clustered in the eastern part of North Carolina, where hog farms collect billions of gallons of untreated pig feces and urine and dispose of the waste by spraying it into the air.
These poor waste management practices most CAFO farms use result in animal manure making its way into neighboring waterways. The spills release large amounts of nitrogen and phosphorus, which fuels algae growth. This is harmful to the environment because of the rapid growing algal blooms that block sunlight and reduce oxygen levels in the water, causing what's known as dead zones. This oxygen depletion leads to massive fish kills and disrupts the entire aquatic ecosystem.
But the lake is still green. That is the message from Lake Erie advocates on this Earth Day. Members of the group speaking out about the issue today. This year marks a decade since the 2014 water crisis. That was when a toxic algal bloom prompted an advisory not to drink the water or even use the water 10 years ago. The advocates say the problem started because of phosphorus runoff from factory farms.
For communities living near CAFOS, the tap water is no longer safe. Families report bitter tastes, discoloration, and worse, unexplained illnesses. Contamination from CAFOS animal waste and sprayed chemicals make their way into groundwater, which ultimately pollutes drinking water. These waters are proven to be filled with waterborne pathogens, excessive phosphorus levels, and more. Additionally, the National Library of Medicine reports diseases, antibiotic resistance issues, numerous infections, cancer, and serious birth defects known as baby blue syndrome. Other than waste ending up in drinking water, CAFO factory farms also have high levels of airborne contaminants, like E. coli, salmonella, antibiotic-resistant bacteria, and other unwanted particles. When the animals are slaughtered, the contaminated particles end up on the meat if it isn't properly handled. This led to multiple cases of illness and disease. For example, a research from Duke University in North Carolina found data that the communities located near a hog CAFO farm had higher rates of death due to anemia, kidney disease, and increased emergency hospital visits. One powerful solution to the suffering animals face in CAFOS is the rise of pasture-raised farming. Instead of being crammed into tight, filthy spaces, animals in pasture-raised systems roam freely, graze on fresh grass, and live more natural lives. These open environments don't just look better, they are better. Cleaner conditions means less disease, less stress, and less need for antibiotics. And it doesn't stop there. With animals spread out across the land, instead of concentrated in tight quarters, the waste is no longer toxic overload. It becomes part of the ecosystem, fueling healthier soil, cleaner air, and a more balanced cycle of life. It's a choice that represents animals, the land, and even us. Pasture-raised farming is often seen as the more ethical, sustainable alternative to CAFOS, and for good reason. Animals roam freely, the land has a chance to regenerate, and the overall environmental impact is much lower. But it's not a perfect solution. Using more land means higher costs, more space to maintain, more labor, and more resources. And those extra costs, they show up on the price tag. In 2025, the average pound of CAFO-raised ground beef sells for $5.80, but pasture-raised around $7.71. It's a tough reality, especially for families trying to make ends meet. But still, despite the higher price, pasture-raised systems offer cleaner air, healthier soil, and better treatment of animals. They're a step in the right direction, a way to produce food that respects the planet, even if the path forward isn't the cheapest. It's not the easiest option, but it just might be the better one. And as more people choose sustainably, the hope is that one day, doing what's best for the earth won't come at such a high cost. Another major concern in CAFOS is the overwhelming amount of manure waste. But instead of letting it pollute nearby land or waterways, farmers can repurpose it through aerobic composting, a natural process that turns organic waste into nutrient-rich fertilizer. To begin, farmers set up a composting site away from wells and water sources, using a compacted dirt or concrete base to prevent runoff. Fresh manure from livestock is collected and combined with carbon-rich materials like straw, wood chips, or sawdust. This mixture bounces nitrogen and carbon, which speeds up the breakdown process. Over the next 3 months, microorganisms break down the organic matter in the presence of oxygen. The compost heats up, helping kill off pathogens and weed seeds. As time passes, material transforms into dark, crumbly compost that's safe to use as natural fertilizer. With proper management, composting turns waste into a valuable resource, helping reduce pollution, support long-term soil health, and create a more sustainable farming cycle.
Our solution isn't just for farms. Anybody can make a positive impact just by composting at home.
I personally compost food scraps, chicken bedding, and other organic materials. Once it breaks down into rich, fertile compost, I use it to nourish my garden soil. It's a simple, sustainable way to reduce waste and support healthy plant growth right in your own backyard.
CAFO operators, cooperations, workers, health agencies, and local communities all play a role in bringing composting and air filtration to industrial farms. Yes, these systems cost money and take extra work, but the benefits outweigh the cost. Cleaner air, safer water, and a healthier environment are results we can't afford to ignore. In the long run, it's a small price to pay for a future that's actually livable. By supporting local butcher shops, farms, and eating less meat, we can create a positive change. The impacts of CAFOS are undeniable, but there's also a powerful opportunity for hope. Every decision we make, from where we shop to what we put on our plates, has the power to bring about healing and restoration. It's not just about changing what we eat, but about choosing a future where sustainability and compassion come first. The land is calling for our care, and the animals are waiting for our compassion. Together, we can build a better world, one mindful choice at a time.
So today, for stewardship, we decided to go to a local home farm.
We're going to be helping them with any chores that they need and putting up any fence for their newly arrived cows.
Let's go!
I'm RJ Peterson. I have a little hobby farm.
Change your mind, but I know that this time I have said too much, been too unkind. I try to laugh about it, cover it all up with lies. I try to laugh about it, hiding the tears in my eyes, 'cause boys don't cry.
While some of us went to this farm, others went to a dairy farm to help with daily chores of cleaning stalls.
So I try to laugh about it, hiding the tears in